What's up everyone, Coach Tasner. Welcome back to another video. Today we got my NXT Stand and Deliver 2025 review reactions. The show literally just finished a couple of minutes ago. The WrestleMania kickoff show is already kicked off. I have it on my laptop in the background. So if I just look up at that at any point, that's why. But yeah, I want to get this Stand and Deliver reactions out, review, whatever I call it. I think I'm going to call it a review. But yeah, it was a good show. It wasn't anything special until the main event. Spoiler, that was my match of the night. I thought the three lads in that stole the show, especially a certain young OG that we'll get to. But yeah, we'll kick things off with the pre-show. Like I said, the WrestleMania it's almost starting. So yeah, let's get through this. Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley got the win over Cora Jaida and Roxanne Perez. Fatal Influence and the Meta 4. Yeah, so I thought the Meta 4 were going to win this and then maybe move up to the main roster to challenge the Judgment Day. The match will be happening this Tuesday on NXT. It will be Paxley and Gigi getting the title shot, which I'm happy about because I'm a big fan of both Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, and I have been enjoying their work together as a team, of course, with Shotzi. Yeah, so I'm happy to see them get the shot and pick up the win here. Surprisingly, the Meta 4 were the first eliminated. So yeah, last legend, Jakara Jackson, were the first to be eliminated. Again, maybe that's them getting ready for a main roster call-up. To nobody's surprise, once again, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade could not get along in team together. And Roxanne walked out on Cora. And then that left Fatal Influence and Gigi and Tatum alone, 2-on-2, which allowed Paxley and Gigi to pick up the victory and become number one contenders for the Women's Championship. Then in the opening matchup, Ricky Sainz defeated Ethan Page. Nothing really special here. It was an okay matchup, but it's not one that, when you think of previous NXT takeovers or premium live events, it's not one of the ones that I feel like will be talked about a lot in a couple of years. It was solid. It wasn't bad, but yeah, it wasn't one of the greatest NXT matchups ever. There was one big spot that I want to talk about, and that was Ricky Sainz doing a springboard cross putty and landing on the announce table. Ethan Page was able to avoid it, but Ricky was able to fight back, hit Rochambeau, and retain the North American Championship. I just want to talk about here, before I forget about, there was some backstage segments with Lexis King and some magicians, and they made his Heritage Cup disappear, so I don't know what that's going to lead to. Maybe the Heritage Cup goes and we get a championship, like the Heritage Championship or something, I don't know. Unless, maybe I was, gone to get a drink or gone to the toilet or something, he ends up getting it back and I missed it. If he did do that, just scratch that. But, yeah. Hank and Tank then defeated Fraxiom to become tag team champions. I'm happy with this. I feel like Fraxiom have done everything there is to do in NXT. They've beaten all the teams in NXT at the moment. This was the right story for them to drop the belts with what they've been doing with Hank and Tank, and I've really enjoyed that. Of course, they were on a bit of losing streak. They were trying to get it together. They were getting advice from, the Hardy Boys, the Street Profits, Machine Guns, Pretty Deli, and all these other teams over the last couple of weeks. And they eventually put it all together to win the gauntlet to become number one contenders. And then from there, they became the NXT Tag Team Champions. Again, fun matchup here, as you'd expect from Fraxiom. I believe it was Hank did a suicide dive and again just crashed and burned on the announce table. But eventually he gets back in, makes the save for Tank, and they become the tag team champions. Like I said, right call here. Fraxiom are ready for a main roster call up, and Hank and Tank, the story was there for them to win the belts, and I've enjoyed the story and I enjoyed them win the belts here. Then Sol Ruca defeats Izzy Dame, Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, Tia Hill, and Zarya to become the Women's North American Champion in that ladder match for the vacant championship. This was your typical multi-person ladder match. There was dives off the ladder, there were high spots, there was dives onto, like, slams onto the ladder. Not, again, it wasn't a bad match, but I feel like these multi-person ladder matches, there's been a lot of them, and unless there's something really special happens, like a big, massive moment, I feel like it's hard for them to stand up. But yeah, like, this was a solid multi-person ladder match. And, saw Ruca, how it came down to her and Zarya at one point, both on the ladder, they start fighting. She, like, ends up, like, having to... it's hard to explain. She, like, kind of pulls herself up so her legs go over and she knocks down. And she, like, pulls herself up that way and gets on top. She hits a couple of Soul Snatchers and grabs the belt. Happy to see Sol Ruca get the belt. I do like Sol. She's a very impressive athlete. And, I think there could be some fun stuff here with her as the North American champion. Then Dark State get the victory over the Angelo family. Again, this was kind of a fun multi-person brawl. Not like one of the best matches ever, but it wasn't bad. It served its purpose. It was entertaining. The finish of the match, kind of as expected, Stacks turned on Tony. There was a crowbar brought in. It looked like Stacks was going to hit Tony. He hands it to the referee as the ref turns around. Low blow to Tony. And that allowed Dark State to hit their powerbomb finish to get the victory. And interestingly, later on in the night, Stacks is leaving the arena. He hasn't changed out of his gear, just getting into his car. Up comes Luca. And he's like, "What you doing? Why did you do that, Stacks?" And Stacks is like, "Hey, trust me, keep your phone on you. I'll let you know where I am. I'll see you Tuesday." So interesting. And I do kind of want to point out Tony's body language at points. There were points where, like, he was just kind of just standing there on the apron. He wasn't really, like, putting his hand out. There was a point where I think it was Luca was in the ring. He was crawling over to make a tag. And one of Dark State went after Stacks on the floor, so Tony jumped down. So, yeah, I feel like maybe that's where they're trying to tease. Maybe it's not Stacks who turned on Tony, but it was Tony who turned on the family and joined Dark State, and Dark State's got to do with him, and Stacks was one step ahead of him. So, yeah, I'm kind of intrigued to see how that plays out. Maybe I'm over-analysing things here, and it is just Stacks turned on Tony, and he's just saying that to Luca to try to get Luca on his side. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see where things play out with that one. Then Stephanie Vaquer defended the Women's Championship against Giulia, Jaida Parker, and Jordynne Grace. I feel like this was the Jaida Parker showcase a bit. I feel like she was the standout in this matchup. Everyone knows what Jordynne Grace can do. Everyone knows what Stephanie Vaquer and Giulia can do. And I feel like this was Jaida Parker stepping up, proving that she belongs in this conversation, in these matchups, alongside these women. I feel like Jaida had a very impressive showing here. Like I said, we know what Stephanie's capable of, we know what Giulia's capable of, we know what Jordynne is capable of, and we seen that from all of them. And this was Jaida Parker stepping up, keeping up with them, and putting on a good performance here. But ultimately, Stephanie Vaquer was able to get the victory and retain her NXT Women's Championship like I said, it was a solid fatal 4-way. And then the main event, the match of the night, in my opinion, I really liked this matchup. I got really invested in this matchup because I really wanted a certain young OG, Jay Malachi, Javon Evans, to get the victory, but he came so close. And yeah, like I said, I feel like he was the star of this matchup and the star of the show. If I was giving out an MVP, it would be going to Javon. But yeah, this match ruled. All three men, fantastic wrestlers, and they delivered. I had high hopes going into this. This was the one match that I was like, yeah, this is going to be the one that could potentially steal WrestleMania weekend. And we are off to a good start, and they did. Oba gets the victory, pinning Javon after hitting it. I believe it was Javon hit a cutter onto Oba. Trick hit the knee onto Javon. Oba comes in, fall of grace on Trick onto Javon. He picks Javon up, fall of grace, pins him. Yeah, really fun matchup, high pace, high action. Javon just flying around doing a lot of crazy high spots. Trick is a crazy athlete. He was doing some good stuff as well. Oba just using his power, just throwing people around. And yeah, very fun matchup. Definitely, if I was to recommend one match and say this is the match you need to check out, it is this matchup. Like I said, I wanted Jordynne to win, but it was Oba. But I feel like that added to my investment into Javon Evans. Like, I've been watching him since his debut in DPW. Like, I've been DPW from the start. Like, I remember watching the first episodes of Fire and stuff. So I've seen him like come up and rise through DPW, get signed to NXT, rise up through NXT to this point where WrestleMania weekend he's challenging for the title at only 20 years old. So yeah, I feel like it's only a matter of time before Javon Evans does not only become NXT champion, but I feel like there's a lot of gold in his future. But tonight, it was Oba Femi's time to retain, and like I said, I really like this matchup. This is a great matchup. Definitely worth checking out. So yeah, that is it for my review of NXT Stand and Deliver 2025. Let me know in the comment section below which matches you enjoyed and liked the most, and what your favorite matchup was. Leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one.